G'day and welcome back to MotoringBox. On today's episode we're going to be giving the interior of my BA Falcon XR6 Turbo a bit of a clean. Stick around. Now if you're familiar at all with my channel, you might think I have a bad case of OCD when it comes to car cleaning, but that couldn't be further from the truth. You see, I like to have a clean car just like all of you would, I'm sure. But I want to do it with the minimum amount of effort possible, and I do believe that if you give a car a deep clean like we're going to do today, it's something you're not going to have to do again for the foreseeable future. Simply wiping down the surfaces and giving the car an occasional vacuum after what we're doing today is all it's going to need to keep it looking its very best. And if you've seen my slightly dodgy cleaning methods before, this video is not going to have any surprises. It's going to be exactly the same. But for those of you who are new to the channel, this is what you're going to need. To remove the front seats from a Falcon, you're going to need an M50 Torx, but a socket set will also be handy. You'll also need some screwdrivers, a trim removal tool, some car washing solution of your choice, some interior trim protectant, a couple of cloths, bucket and a sponge, and also a wet dry vacuum cleaner. This is a simple Tool Pro wet dry vac which I picked up for 50 bucks. So before we do anything, we need to disconnect the battery, and you can do this very easily by simply popping off the negative terminal from the battery. You can leave the positive one in place, but make sure the negative cable doesn't go anywhere near the negative post on the battery. With the battery disconnected, we can get to work on removing the front seats from the car. On a BA Falcon, we need to remove these plastic cover pieces first, which you can simply pull off with a little bit of force. If necessary, a trim removal tool will also help motivate these things to pop off. Now the only M50 bit I have is actually on this little hand tool, so I'm simply going to use that to back these bolts out, using a pair of vice grips for a little bit of extra leverage. Once I've got the bolts loosened sufficiently, I can simply use the hand tool to get them out the rest of the way, undoing the 2 bolts on the front of the rails and also the 2 on the back. Now that we have all of the bolts undone, we can actually rock the seat backwards and get access to the electrical connectors which are underneath. Remove all of these carefully and pull them aside. And we can now remove the seat from the entire car. We of course need to repeat all of these steps for the passenger seat as well, and remove it from the car too. Thankfully, removing the rear bench of the back seat is a lot easier. All you need to do on any Falcon from AU onwards is pull up on each side of the seat, lift the seat base out and take it out of the car. Alright, so that all went pretty well. It's not looking too bad in here apart from a bit of dust, dirt, hair and things like that. Let's take a look and see what we've got here, a bit of archaeology. This looks like an original Ford sticker of some sort. Test date of 24th of September 2004. Not sure what we've got there. We've got a chip. That looks like a McDonald's chip to me. So that's probably not from me, that's probably quite an old chip. We've got a, looks like a glue bottle cap of some sort. It's pretty boring so far. What do we got here? We've got a bent paper clip. Who knows what sinister uses that's been involved with. All right, let's have a look under the back seat. It's looking pretty clean. Just a bit of dirt and dust. No money, unfortunately. That looks like a rock of some sort. Very interesting. And we've got some more bits of food and random things. Nothing too exciting. Oh, we got some money. $1.10. Nice. All right, we've got a profit, boys. And yeah, look, that's about it. Pretty boring. If you've ever hit the jackpot cleaning out your car, do let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, for 16 or 17 years old, I think this one's looking pretty good. So let's move on with the cleaning. Now before we do anything, we need to give the carpet a really good vacuum. You don't have to get 100% of the grit that's on this carpet, but we need to try and get it as clean as possible within reason. You'll notice that I don't actually have any attachments on the end of my vacuum hose. And that's because I find simply using the end of the hose and rubbing it backwards and forwards through the carpet fibres actually does a really good job. It really agitates the fibres and brings any contaminants to the top of the carpet, where it's then sucked in by the vacuum cleaner. I'm sure there are specialised attachments available which might do a better job, but hey, you can't complain with the results I'm getting here. Right guys, we've done our first pass with the vacuum cleaner and it's looking pretty good. What I like to do now is a little bit controversial, and on first impressions it does look a little bit dodgy. What we're going to do is we're going to get our bucket of soapy water and our sponge. I'm going to wring the sponge out a little bit so it's not too wet, and then we're just going to give the carpet a little bit of a scrub. Might want it just a little bit wetter than that. And then we can do the rubberized foot pad here as well. So we just want to go over everything and just suds it up a little bit. We don't want to get the carpet too wet, but just enough to sort of freshen it up a little bit. So re-dip your sponge in the water anytime you need to. You can move those connectors out of the way as well. There are fancier products on the market, like the Bissell Spot Vac and things like that, that can sort of speed up a job like this one. But you know me, I'm a bit of a cheapskate. I'm looking to save a bit of money where I can. And I'm not afraid of a bit of elbow grease as well, going to a bit of effort. So I think this method is really quite fantastic. For the amount of money you're going to be spending anyway, which is next to nothing, you can get some really good results with it. So this is all soaped up pretty well now. It's not super wet, but just enough to sort of bring some of the contaminants to the surface. Now what we're going to do is hit it with our wet dry vacuum cleaner. Now the process for vacuuming the moisture out of the carpet is pretty much exactly the same as what we did before. But we're going to go over the carpet multiple times to try and suck out as much moisture as we can. Because remember, the more moisture we suck out here, the shorter the drying time. So make sure you give all areas of the carpet a very thorough going over, and even go over them a couple of extra times to make sure. We then need to scrub the rest of the carpet throughout the car, and then suck out the moisture the same as before. It's also important to remember that we're probably going to need to vacuum the carpet a third time after we've reinstalled the front seats, because there will be contaminants and whatnot floating around. With the carpet looking really clean, we can then move our attention to the front seats. And what I'm going to do first is simply spray a bit of surface cleaner onto the rails and any of the areas underneath the seat which are going to be visible when these seats are reinstalled. Simply wipe off any dust or grunge which is sitting down here, and then we can move our attention to the seat base itself. We're going to clean the seat cushion in pretty much exactly the same way as we cleaned the carpet, getting your soapy sponge and trying to go over all of the areas of the fabric. And remember, the wetter the fabric, the longer the drying time. Now that the seat has been wiped down, don't waste any time and try and suck out as much moisture as you can as quickly as possible, because the longer you leave it, the more water will actually soak down into the foam layer underneath, and it's going to be harder to suck it out. So use this method to go over both of the front seats, and then you can move on to the rear bench. The seats in my car aren't really looking too bad, so I'm simply giving them a really quick wipe over and then sucking out the moisture as quickly as possible. Usually when I clean my car interiors, I tend to leave the upper half of the rear seat still mounted into the car, because this part is a lot more difficult to remove, and now that you've got the seat base out of the way, there really is no reason I can think of that you'd actually need to remove this from the car. So simply use the same method of soaping up all of the surfaces and then suck them dry with the wet dry vacuum cleaner. Now that you've got all of these seats clean, we can reinstall the bottom half of the rear seat. The two hooks on the back have a slot which they need to feed into, and all you need to do then is feed the seat buckles through their respective slots. Once everything is looking good, you can simply apply a bit of force to the left and then right side of the rear bench, and you should hear both sides lock into place. Before we reinstall the front seats, I'm going to use this opportunity to give the center console a bit of a clean, using some Armor All interior protectant. This stuff is really easy to use. You can either spray it directly onto the cloth and then apply it to the surface, or I usually like to simply spray it onto the surface and then wipe it from there. And you can also use this opportunity to wipe any other plastics which ordinarily would be quite difficult to get to when the front seats are reinstalled. And speaking of the front seats, I'm now going to reinstall them back into the car, and it's simply the reverse of how you removed them. Once the bolts have been tightened, we can reinstall all of the plastic covering pieces. On a BA Falcon, these simply clip into place, so simply apply a bit of force and you should hear them clip in. Now that I've got the driver's seat reinstalled, I have to say it's looking a hell of a lot better down here than it did before. And with these seats taken care of and waiting for them to dry, one of the final steps is to apply the interior protectant to all of the rest of the plastics in the vehicle interior. Interior protectant like this Armor All spray is really difficult to clean off glass, so make sure you don't spray it anywhere near the windows or the windscreen. Make sure you go over every single plastic surface in the interior, and you can also wipe down the center console and the center console lid. And don't forget about the door trims as well, they're really going to benefit especially from an interior protectant like this one. Alright, well that was a fairly successful couple of hours. Got the entire car vacuumed out. As you saw, we used the car washing solution to scrub the carpets, scrub the seats, and then use the wet dry vacuum to suck out as much of the moisture as we can. It's still a little bit damp, so I would probably leave this car out in the sun for a couple of hours to let it dry out. And of course we went over all of the plastics with the Armor All Protectant Original. The Armor All Interior Protectant is a product that seems to cop a lot of flack online, but I've been using that product for almost about 20 years now, and it's a really fantastic product. You don't get any shine or residual oiliness or anything like that, and it just seems to do a really good job of protecting your interior plastics. It's not going to make them crack or destroy them like people say online, so I don't really know where that came from. Maybe it's something that was true in the past, but I don't think it's true anymore. So now that your vehicle is looking and smelling really good, it's a really good idea to invest in a set of floor mats. So this is a set of Ford OEM floor mats, especially for the BA Falcon. I actually found these on eBay, and I reckon they're probably going to get pretty rare in the coming years just because the BA came out 19 years ago. So I'm going to put these in the back, and I'm going to put the front floor mats from the set, I'm going to put them aside because I'm actually going to go for these molded rubber floor mats. I'll leave a link to the eBay auction where I actually bought these from. You can only get them for the front as a pair for the BA Falcon. But I wasn't, this isn't an endorsement of the product or anything. I bought these full price. The manufacturer doesn't even know that this video is happening, so I'm no way affiliated with that listing or that manufacturer, but I am mentioning the product in this video because I am really impressed with these mats. As you can see, they are molded, so they have fairly tall edges on them all the way around, and they are molded perfectly for a BA Falcon. It is a shame that you can only get the front pair because I really would like some for the back as well. But considering this car only usually has one or two people always sitting in the front, this is a really good investment, I think, for anyone with a BA Falcon who drives it daily. As you can see, this one looks a little bit grotty. Maybe you can't see it very clearly on the camera, but this has been in the car for about 2 months. I've been using these. I bought them about 2 months ago, and I reckon if you hit them with a bit of cleaner, there were a lot of leaves and dirt on this mat when I took it out of the car, but as soon as I tipped it upside down, it all just fell off. And the bits that are left, yeah, as I suspected, it pretty much just wipes off straight away. So that looks pretty much good as new after just a couple of seconds of wiping. So I'll show you how these install into the car. You sort of have to wedge them in pretty tightly because they are a really snug fit. You have to put the front seat back, all the way back, and then sort of shoehorn these in. But yeah, another really cool thing about these mats, because they are sort of a rubberized material, is if you get into the car and you've got leaves or dirt stuck on the bottom of your shoes, it's not necessarily going to fall off onto this mat. Because if you've got like a carpet mat, the carpet kind of tends to grab that stuff off your shoes and it goes into the fibers and it just looks horrible. Whereas this one, some of the garbage that's on the bottom of your shoe, it may just stay there and then leave with you as you exit the car after the drive. But I'll quickly install this into the car so you can have a look and see how it fits. And then as a final step, if your car has any leather in the interior, we can get a leather conditioner to finish it off. And that's it guys, we're done. Now this is not, as I mentioned, a concours clean, but for a daily driven car, this is perfectly acceptable. You know, this car looks immaculate, it smells awesome, it smells like new. You know, when you've used really good cleaning products like the Armor All Original Protectant on the plastics and then this Meguiar's leather conditioner, it really does rejuvenate a 16 or 17-year-old car like this one. Even though, you know, it's done about 125,000 Ks, it's not a lot considering its age, but really looking after your car's interior can go a long way to increasing your enjoyment of the car, protecting the car, and just making sure it looks absolutely fantastic. So what do you reckon? I know I've done cleaning videos like this before, but let me know your thoughts on the transformation of the BA Falcon XR6 Turbo's interior. Really appreciate your thoughts in the comments section below. You can also consider checking out some of the other videos I've got on the channel. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you next time.